Every financial advisor dreams of getting referrals from CPAs and attorneys, what we'll call centers of influence, but almost none of them do. I'm Matthew Jarvis, and I built a $2 million a year RA practice, fully 1/3 of which came from referrals from centers of influence, specifically accountants and attorneys. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to get appointments with accountants and attorneys, specifically productive appointments, right? There's some way like you could trick your way into their office, like fast talk them, deceive them, whatever the case may be. I'm talking productive appointments where they end with results. Now, not just results from me. You'll see up here, we've done this for other advisors. I talk about this in my book, and we've coached other advisors. My good friend Nestor talked about how he followed this process, and he actually got a referral from his very first meeting following this process. I'll be honest, it took me several meetings before I got appointments, and he's got 4 or 5 centers of influence who routinely send him referrals. So how are we going to get this appointment? Well, let's first take a step back and say, why would a CPA want to meet with you, or why would they not meet with you? Well, let's go with not. Well, they're busy. They're trying to run a practice. They're trying to make money. They're trying to deal with their clients. They're trying to deal with whatever else they have running a business. Not on their list is listening to yet another financial advisor who claims to be the greatest thing since sliced bread and just wants to beat them up for referrals, right? That's why they would not do it. So why would they do it? Well, they would do it if you were delivering value. And so we ask ourselves, how can we deliver so much value that the CPA, and I use CPA here, we can, as a placeholder for any center of influence, attorney, tax preparer, et cetera, what can we offer the CPA so it's a no-brainer to have a meeting with me? Well, here it is. What if we offer to pay for an hour of their time? Now, as an advisor, this might seem peculiar, but CPAs and attorneys live by hourly fee billing, and they never have someone volunteer to pay for their time. They're always following up with their clients who are complaining about having to pay for their time. So here's how this works. I reach out to the local CPA, again, placeholder for center of influence, and I say, Mr. or Mrs. CPA, I'm Matthew Jarvis. I'm a financial advisor here in town, and several of my clients have asked me for an introduction to a good CPA that can help them with their financial situation. Now, I can't promise that I'll be able to refer them to you, but instead of just giving them your name, I'd like to pay for an hour of your time, learn a little bit more about how you practice to make sure that the clients that I send to you are in fact a good fit. And as I mentioned earlier, because I can't promise any referrals, I feel like that would be disingenuous. I would like to pay for an hour of your time because I respect your time. Now, you'll want to practice this offer a few times, but not all. Most, 90% in my experience of CPAs will take you up on this offer. And you've already won the game, by the way, at this point, because no other financial advisor has done this. Everyone else has asked for their time for free to ask for favors. So I'm asking for their time because I want to send them referrals, which is true, and I'm willing to pay for their time. Obviously, that is also true, right? So I've really distinguished myself. Now, once I get this meeting scheduled, obviously I'm going to show up right on time, but I'm going to do some research ahead of time. And I talk about this in my book, Delivering Massive Value. I'm going to do some research. I want to make sure I know this CPA inside and out. I want to know where they went to school. I want to know about their family. I want to know what they do in the community. I want to know how long they've been in business. I'm not hired like a private investigator. We're not cyber stalking them. I'm going to just search their name and see what comes up. I'm also, prior to the meeting, going to send them my list of questions that I want to ask them. Now, the list of questions I use is in my book, but these are questions like, who do you decide who gets filed on time and who goes on extension? Which clients are your best clients and which ones are your worst clients? What do financial advisors do that really help you out? And what do financial advisors do that's really just a pain in your butt? These are all very straightforward questions. So I show up with my questions in hand at exactly the allotted time, and I have in my hand, if it's a physical meeting, a check made out to them for their hourly fee to show that I'm serious. Now, most professional CPAs will not accept your check because they view it as a professional courtesy, but I'm showing up as a person with integrity. I said I would pay for this time. I'm coming with a check. I don't want you to have to bill me for it. If this was a Zoom meeting or a virtual one, I would figure out how to pay them in advance. Again, it shows that I'm serious. I would sit down with them just like I do in a prospect meeting, and I would reinforce what I had already promised. Mr. CPA, the purpose of this meeting is that I have many clients that ask for an introduction to a CPA, and I don't like to tell them to just Google it. And so in this meeting, I'm going to ask several questions about you and get a feel for which of my clients are really a good fit for you. Now, As I mentioned on the phone, Mr. CPA, I cannot promise I'll be able to send you any referrals. I feel like that would be a disingenuous promise, and thus the reason I'm paying for your time. So with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and ask you through some of my questions. And so then I have my questions printed out. I ask through them. Now, surprise of all surprises, my friends, this takes exactly 30 of the 60 minutes that I've paid for. So what do I do with the other 30 minutes? I had an advisor once, the advisor who taught me this strategy, actually a fellow named Ray Adams. When I asked him that question, he said, listen, I paid for the time. If I want to jump up on the desk and dance, I'm going to jump up on the desk and dance. I don't, my friends, recommend that strategy. What I do, though, when I get to the end of the 30 minutes and I've asked all of my questions, I say, oh, Mr. CPA, looks like we have a few minutes left. Do you mind if I take just a minute to explain to you how we help prospective clients make an educated and informed decision about our practice? The CPA invariably says yes, and then I walk them through our prospect process, which again explains how they can make an educated and informed decision about their firm, about our firm. At the end of that, I say to the CPA, I say, hey, Mr. CPA, do you mind if I follow up from time to time as I have questions or I have clients I want to collaborate with? Again, I'm glad to pay for your time, or if we want to meet over lunch, that would be fine too. Again, 9 out of 10 are going to say, yep, that is totally fine. I'm going to thank them so much for their time, and I'm going to head out and wish them a nice day. You'll notice that I did not at any point ask for a referral. I did not say, hey, listen, what are the names of 5 clients that you should send my way? I've done none of that. Instead, I've established expertise and I've delivered massive value, and I've set the stage for my ability to follow up with them every calendar quarter. Now, what to do on each of those follow-ups is a topic for another video. But the one last thing I want to leave you with in this video is this is not a one and done activity. If you are going to start working with centers of influence, this needs to be a 5 attempts at a meeting a week. In other words, every single week, I'm going to try to get 5 meetings with a center of influence. How often? Every single week for at least 2 years, right? You're going to be in business in 2 years, whether you do this strategy or not. And so I want to really press this and say, listen, I'm going to get in front of as many people as I possibly can with a strategic approach. As I mentioned earlier, I spoke specifically to CPAs. This also works with attorneys, with business bankers, with insurance brokers, not necessarily insurance agents, anyone that has a long-term relationship with their clients. It doesn't work as well with realtors or mortgage brokers because it's a quick turnover. So reach out to these centers of influence in your area. Start at 5 a week. And until next time, happy planning.